Section 9. Delineation of Strategic Agriculture and Fisheries Development Zones. Under this section, the government, along with various departments and the community groups, will create special farming and fishing areas called Strategic Agriculture and Fisheries Development Zone or SAFDZ within 1 year. For 5 years, lands that are good for farming and have irrigation cannot be used for other purposes. Only a small amount up to 5% of these lands can be changed, but only if they follow strict rules. Now, after 5 years, the government will check how well these special zones are working. They will see if the areas are productive, if farmers and fishers have better lives, and if the support services are working well. Based on this review, more land changes might be allowed, but only after careful consideration and following the law. If any land within these zones is changed to another use, the landowner himself must pay back the government for its investment, including adjusting for inflation. Section 10. Preparation of Land Use and Zoning Ordinance. In this section says that within 1 year after the special farming and fishing zone are finalized, every city and town must prepare their own land use and zoning rules that include these zones. These land use plans and zoning rules must be updated every 4 years or more often if needed. The updates should be done within the first year of the mayor's term. Now, if cities or towns do not prepare or update their zoning and land use plans on time, the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG will impose penalties as stated in the Republic Act No. 716. Now, under this Republic Act No. 716, the penalties for cities or towns that fail to prepare or update their land use and zoning plans can include fines and other legal action. Specifically, the DILG can impose fines of up to 5,000 pesos for offenses that are punishable by imprisonment exceeding 1 year or a fine exceeding this amount. Section 11. Penalty for agricultural inactivity and premature conversion. This section explains that if someone leaves irrigated agricultural land of 7 hectares or more, where the land was unproductive for over a year, without a good reason, like a natural disaster, they will have to pay a tax of 3,000 per hectare per year. That person also must make the land productive again. If the land remains unused for more than 2 years, it may be taken by the government through a legal process. Another is if someone illegally changes the use of agricultural land, they can be punished with imprisonment for 2 to 6 years, a fine equal to the government's investment cost in the land, both imprisonment and a fine depending on the court's decision. At the same time, if the land had any improvements on it, it can also be taken away. The Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR can also cancel or withdraw the approval for land use change. Blacklist that same person, preventing future land use change applications. Section 12. Protection of watershed areas. In this section, all areas that collect and supply water for irrigation and important underground water sources must always be protected. These areas are identified by the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and must be preserved to ensure they remain good sources of water for farming and other uses. Section 13. Agricultural and Fisheries Modernization Plan. Under this section, the government will work with farmers, fishers, private businesses, NGOs, community groups, and other government agencies to create and carry out a detailed plan to improve agriculture and fisheries. Now, this plan will cover both the medium and long term and will focus on the 5 key areas. First, food security, ensuring there is enough food for everyone. Second, poverty alleviation and social equity, reducing poverty and ensuring fair treatment for all, especially for farmers and fishers. Third, income enhancement and profitability, helping the farmers and fishers make more money and run successful businesses. Fourth, global competitiveness, making sure the country's agriculture can compete successfully on a global scale. Last, sustainability, ensuring that farming and fishing practices are environmentally friendly and can continue over the long term without depleting resources. Section 14. Food security, poverty alleviation, social equity, and income enhancement. In this section, the government, through the Department of Agriculture and other related agencies, will create plans to address key issues such as food security, poverty, fairness, and income improvement for farmers and fishers. These plans will focus on the following goals: increase income and profits, such as helping small farmers and fishers earn more money; affordable food, making sure rice and other basic foods are available at prices people can afford; reduce poverty and inequality, lower the levels of poverty and income differences in rural areas; reduce malnutrition, decrease the number of people suffering from poor nutrition; reduce unemployment, create more job opportunities and reduce underemployment in rural areas; improve land ownership, where helping small farmers have better access to and control over their land.
Section 15 is Global Competitiveness and Sustainability. This section in Afma Act of 1997 is all about making the Philippines agriculture and fisheries sectors more competitive and sustainable on a global scale. The Department of Agriculture is tasked with creating plans. First is increase in the volume, quality, and value of agriculture and fisheries production for domestic consumption and for exports. Second is reduction in post-harvest losses. Third is increase in the numbers, types, and quality of processed agriculture and fishery products. The fourth one is increase in number of international trading partners in agriculture and fishery products. Fifth is increase in the number of sustainable agriculture and fisheries firms engaged in domestic production, processing, marketing, and export activities. Sixth is increase in and wider level of entrepreneurship among farmers and fisher folks in the area. Seventh is increase in the number of farms engaged in diversified farming, and the last one is reduce use of agrochemicals that are harmful to health and environment. In Section 16, Global Climate Change, this section focuses on dealing with the impacts of global climate change. The Department of Agriculture, along with PAG-ASA and other relevant agencies, will regularly monitor the climate change, weather patterns, and seasonal productivity cycles. This information will help them to forecast and plan agricultural and fisheries production more effectively, ensuring that the sector can adapt to changing environment conditions. For example, the Department of Agriculture works with PAG-ASA to develop a system that predicts weather patterns and climate changes. This system helps farmers decide the best times for planting and harvesting, thus minimizing the risk of crop failure due to unexpected weather changes. Section 17. Special Concern. This section addresses specific concerns such as WTO challenges, agrarian reform, SAFDZ and the identification, infrastructure and market support, credit programs, research and development. Section 17 is Special Concerns. This section addresses specific concerns such as World Trade Organization challenges, agrarian reform, SAFDZ identification, infrastructure and market support, credit programs, research and development, biodiversity preservation, rural non-farm employment, access to aquatic resources, and support for marginalized groups like indigenous peoples, women, youth, handicapped persons, and senior citizens. For example, a specific program is created to support indigenous farmers, providing them with access to credit and modern farming techniques. Another program focuses on improving market infrastructure in rural areas, making it easier for small farmers to transport and sell their products. In Section 18, Monitoring and Evaluation. Section 18 in Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act focuses on ensuring that the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Plan, or AFMP, is effectively monitored and evaluated. The Department of Agriculture will create a system, or the PBMES, to track the progress and benefit of the plan. They can also hire independent consultants to assess the overall impact. Periodic reports will be made to the Congressional Oversight Committee to ensure transparency and accountability. Section 19. Role of other agencies. Section 19 of the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act emphasizes the collaborative role of various government agencies in supporting the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Plan, or AFMP. Essentially, all government units and agencies need to assist the Department of Agriculture in implementing this plan. This includes the Department of Public Works and Highways, ensuring infrastructure support, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and helping to mobilize local resources. Departments like Trade and Industry, Agrarian Reform, Science and Technology, and Environment and Natural Resources, coordinating their investments to align with the AFMP. Educational, Health, and Social Services departments working together to address the financial needs of farmers and fisher folk. This coordination ensures that all aspects of modernization are covered, from infrastructure and market support to social and environmental considerations, making the implementation of the AFMP more effective and holistic. Section 21. Phase out of the Directed Credit Programs, or DCPS, and provision for the Agro-Industry Modernization Credit and Financing Program, or AMCPP. This section outlines the plan to phase out existing Directed Credit Programs, or DCPS, within 4 years and transition to the Agro-Industry Modernization Credit and Financing Program, or AMCFP. All loanable funds from the CPS and new funds will be transferred to cooperative banks, rural banks, government financial institutions, and sustainable NGOs. The interest earned from these funds will go back into the AMCFP to support agricultural modernization efforts. For example, let's say the Department of Agriculture currently runs a directed credit program that offers low-interest loans directly to small farmers under Section 21. Over the next 4 years, this program will be phased out. Instead, the funds from this program, along with new funds, will be transferred to cooperative banks, rural banks, government financial institutions, and NGOs that specialize in agricultural finance. For instance, a cooperative bank in a rural area receives these transferred funds. This bank then provides loans to local farmers, fisher folks, and small agricultural businesses. The interest earned from these loans is not kept by the bank but is funneled into the Agro-Industry Modernization Credit and Financing Program. This reinvestment supports further agricultural modernization efforts such as purchasing modern farming equipment or developing better irrigation systems, thereby enhancing the overall productivity and sustainable